Hi y'all, Damaris here from Paper is Fabric, and I'm sharing with you my rendition of a captured fairy. Now, most fairies that I've seen have been captured in a jar of some kind or a bottle of some sort, but I have captured my fairy in a wine glass. Yep, that's her new home, a wine glass. So I'd like to share with you how I captured my fairy and what I did to give her her new home. My fairy is the image of Princess Tiana from Princess and the Frog, and I was able to download an image that I could color in and change up and make to my own liking, and so I did. I colored her dress and I added stickles to her dress. I'm trying to give you an image of her. Okay, there we go, like that. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Now, I colored her dress, and as I said, I used my markers and I used some stickles and such, but it didn't seem glittery enough to me, so I broke out the glitter, the fine glitter. This one is from Doodlebug Design, and while the stickles were still wet, I sprinkled her dress with it. Then I had to create her wings, and initially I was going to use a butterfly, but then I thought, that's not working for me. So I looked around my craft room, and what I came up with is maybe using a flower. Well, I decided to use a flower from this collection. It's a Recollection collection, and I used a flower that looked like this, the cream colored one, and the whole flower looks like this. And what I did was I placed the flower behind her, and in adjusting it I came up with, that looked kind of cool. So I cut off 2 of the petals from the flower, and I used a mixture of Aleene's Tacky Glue, water, and glitter, and that same fine glitter, and I brushed it onto the wings. Again, didn't look glittery enough to me, so I used the sister product, which is a coarse version of that glitter from Doodlebug Design. Doodlebug Design, and I sprinkled it on the wings while it was wet, and I set the wings and the princess aside to dry. While she was drying, I made an armature so that I would give the back of the princess body, since it's paper, I needed it to be able to stand and not curl up and stuff, maybe once it dried. So being a doll maker too, I made an armature for her, and I just had the backbone and the feet. I placed that behind the paper in order to make it easy for me to insert into the glass, and also to make it where she would stand once inserted. So that having been taken care of, and I used what they call lines. Zots makes the glue dots, but they also make lines, and I used the line to run along the back part of the body, and I just pressed the wire into that and set it aside, and then started to work on the glass. Well, I knew that I wanted the glass to not show the moss where it was placed at the bottom, and I wanted to make it where you could not actually see into the back of the glass, but so that light would come through. I didn't want to use tissue paper, so what I did was I made a mixture of the Aleene's glue, water, and glitter, and I also used some of this Adirondack ink in Sailboat Blue, and I mixed it up, and then I painted it onto the bottom of the glass. Before I did that, I covered the area where the moss was sitting down into this area here. Well, I used this doily, a doily like this, and I cut the doily so that I would be able to, so to speak, decoupage it to the base of the glass. And I did that, and then I went around with that mixture that I made with the glue and the water and the ink, and painted it onto the back of the glass. And I got this really very glittery, sparkly, beautiful to me effect. Wow. Okay, so I did that, and then I figured I had to do it twice because the glue does dry clear, so I had to paint it twice. And then once I did that, I figured, let me try to make sure that it's not going to see through, and I painted it lightly on the inside. And while it was wet on the inside, I sprinkled some of the chunky glue in there. So I think you can see that, yeah, right there. So now I'm ready to go ahead and put the moss in and put the princess in. And I had put the princess in and realized that I needed to do a little more. So I took her out, and then I forced the moss up around the back and glued it around in certain spots so that it would stay put. And then I replaced her inside and started to adorn it. Now, most of you know that I kind of freak out when it comes to embellishment, so I was like quite nervous when I got to that point. I was fine until I got to that point, but I used what I had on hand, and I think it came out all right. I had bought these flowers, these white flowers here from the dollar store, and I think I'm going to buy some more actually. And those are the flowers that you see there in the back with the tips of them like highlighted in like a yellowy orangey color. And so I did that with stickles, and then I spritzed it with hairspray and sprinkled some glitter onto it, and then placed the 3 of them in. Now once I did that, I still felt that it needed a little something, and I once had a punch that would make little flowers, and I don't know what happened to that punch. So I was thinking, what in the heck am I going to do? I didn't want to load up the Cricut for that, and I didn't want to sit there and try to cut out something. And then it dawned on me, I had given my grandson a little bottle of these flowers. He likes to scrap with me, and he likes to stick things to stuff like the rhinestones and the bling and flowers and stuff. And so I thought about that little jar, and it's this little jar here, and it has all these tiny flowers in different colors. Some of them already match the color that I wanted to make, and some were light enough that if I colored over them with another color, it would be all right. And so that's what I did, and I colored a bunch of them in like purple and teal and green and yellow and orange, and then I painted over them with like watered down glue and sprinkled them with the glitter, and then I placed them here and there inside the jar, like if you can see, like here, and then up around the back there. And I realized that as you turn her, you could still see behind her, so I kind of put some flowers even behind her, you know, and I put some up on the wall that I guess would depict the sky, and it just looks like they're floating there, and it was like so pretty. So now, having gotten through that, I'm like sort of halfway done, but I'm still in a panic because now I really have to embellish. I have to put something on the top. And I tried to do something that was going to be simple, like one big flower that I could just like kind of slap up there and be done. But then when I tried that, it looked like I had slapped it up there. So I figured I can't do that. And so I took it apart. But I mean, I slept on it. And I was like, it'll be okay in the morning. It'll look all right. And then when I woke up in the morning, I just couldn't deal with it. So I took the top part apart. And I had lace up there, some frilly lace and stuff. I took all that stuff off. And I thought, I've got to do something different. So I remembered having this lace in my stash. So having ripped everything else off, I put a new top on, and then I put this lace on, and I painted on this lace with the watered down glue, and then I used some of the chunky glitter. I think you can see it better in the back than you can in the front. And I sprinkled some of that on. And then I got the idea, you know, the moss looks cool on the inside. Maybe it'll look cool on the outside. So I was going to try it on the top, and as I tried it on the top, some of it kind of slid down on the side, and I thought, well, that doesn't look half bad. So now I'm figuring I got to stick a flower on here. And I had one of these white flowers. This was white. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to get out the pens again. So I got out my markers, and I colored this flower up and highlighted it and changed the color and all, and then again worked over top of it with my watered down glue solution, and then I sprinkled some of the chunky glitter on it. And then after I did that, I made the moss trail down the side, And I thought, okay, now what am I going to do? And I had already painted these flowers initially before I had done the ones here, the white ones. And I thought, well, what the heck? Let me try putting them there. So I placed them in the areas and left them sit. But then the moss hanging on the side just looked kind of like, okay, why am I here? So I had to get out that little jar again of these little flowers and pick out some more that were tiny and in the same shapes of before in the colors. And I sat and I colored each one of them, and I glued each one of them and glittered each one of them and then started placing them down the edge. And what I used to place them on the outside was this, and this stuff is good. It's called Aleene's Tacky Fast Grab. It's like the white tacky glue, but it's really thick, so it's only halfway dry before you start using it. And I just put some on the back of each one of these little flowers and stuck it there, and it stayed. I mean, it just adhered to it. So once it was up there, what I did was I sprayed the whole thing again with hairspray. And then I sprinkled it, and first I did it with a little watered down glue, and I hit it here and there, and then I sprinkled it with the chunky glue, glitter, and then I sprayed it with hairspray. And hairspray is a sealer too, so it kind of helped what was stuck there to stay stuck. And this is what it all turned out to be, and I'm really very happy with it. And the only thing is that she's not mine to keep. I made her for someone, so she not only has a new home inside the glass, but she will have a new home as soon as I can get her shipped out. But this is my rendition of the Captured Fairy, and I'm very happy with the way she turned out. So I'd like to thank you for taking time to watch, taking time to listen to me explain and babble. And please leave a comment. They're always welcome. And if you're so inclined, please subscribe. Stay blessed. Have a great day. Bye. Bye.